The more I saw them together, the more I thought this match was made in heaven.
When our father died, it just brought the whole family closer with our mum. You know, all four of us. It was just the four of us left, just the women.
Yeah.
We both weren't sure whether Amita would like us, whether she'd think we were mad, or or whether she'd think we think she was mad.
When Amita just landed, she got in a car which she thought was the taxi, and basically she got kidnapped.
They had a bit of a scary experience.
On the last day, they were on Copacabana Beach, and they got robbed at knife point.
I think it showed us all, what an amazing bond it was these two had, that they were very happy to go through the different ceremonies on the same day, and how much both religions meant to each other.
It doesn't happen very often, does it? 2 weddings in one day.
They grab life by the scruff of the neck and want to get the most out of life.
Okay, sweet pea.
Yep.
Come on. Off we go for a pint and something to eat. Met in Peru. I'd booked a 16-day holiday to South America, visiting 4 countries: Peru, Bolivia, Argentina and Brazil. And we met on the second day. We were there, didn't we?
Sure did.
Have a roast.
Ed actually noticed me in the lobby on the first morning, but I hadn't seen Ed at that time. And it was a bit later on in the morning I noticed Ed in the group, and he was young and single and didn't seem to be with anyone. So I sort of walked up to him, and my first words to you were, "Beats the weather back home."
I said, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Thereafter, we basically just gelled really well.
I just found her so easy to talk to, really easy. It was just amazing. I just felt so at ease when I was with her.
And I just found Ed so down to earth, and we just got on great.
And I can remember on the first day, we was in Lima, and I looked after Amita's bag while she went to the toilet. And I just felt really at home with her, and really sort of, I was just so pleased to have met her, and just felt like we'd known each other for years.
It did feel like we'd known each other for years and years, considering we just met. Just so it was effortless.
I can't believe that we met, like we did. I had no idea I was going to meet anybody, let alone Amita on the first day of our holiday. Couldn't believe it because I was so happily single, and I had no intention of meeting anybody, but you just don't know what's around the corner.
It's the last thing on both our minds. We were both quite happy in our lives before we met, and as Ed said, happily single. Well, it's the middle of the day, so if I'm not going to fall asleep, I think I'll just have a lemonade.
Yeah, any ice on that?
No thanks, no ice.
I'm kind of a point of
I know Ed, I've known him for about 15 years, I suppose, properly. Our families know each other. We've grown up in the same area of the countryside in Somerset, Devon, and we go hunting together, and we've been on hunting expeditions together. We always had a laugh together, even if it was out in the pouring rain, watching hounds. My first memories of Ed, but this is when I was supposed about 15, was that he was a brilliant runner. He used to run everywhere, and wherever hounds were, Ed was. I heard that Ed had a new girlfriend and that she was really lovely, and we basically hadn't seen him out hunting for a while, which is very unusual because he always comes out. If he's not working, he'll always be there. And he was missing, and I remember asking somebody, and they said he had this new girlfriend. So I thought it must be pretty serious. And yes, that was the first I heard of Amita. And then I met her, I think about probably a couple of weeks later when he brought her down, and it was a meet with the hounds, and I met her then. And yeah, that was really, really lovely to see her then. And I thought it must be a big deal because she was with him at the meet. And obviously, you know, if you're not into hunting or things like that, then you'd probably not come out. So I thought she must mean a lot to him then, for her to come out with him then.
Thanks.
Well, I had an unpleasant experience on arrival at the airport. After about 1 hour of walking up and down the airport, I decided to leave the premises, which is not the done thing, especially in a place like South America. And someone came running up to me and said, "Oh, you're with Cosmos, your name's Amita Edw." I said, "Yes, thank God for that." What he'd actually done is taken my details from the list from the representative.
I used to live in South America, so I do know that if you don't speak the language, things can get a bit tricky from airports onwards, really.
The instinct didn't feel right, but I was tired, my defences were down, I'd been travelling non-stop and got in that taxi.
From what I gather, Amita just happened to get in the wrong car at the wrong time, and they really took her for a ride, and it could have been a lot worse than it actually was.
Lucky for me, the motive was monetary, and I just got myself out of the situation as quickly as I possibly could.
She obviously kept her nerve and kept her calm and was able to deal with the situation.
I got to the hotel, they just dropped me off, and I jumped out in a cab to the hotel, burst into tears, and said, "Right, I'm getting the next plane back home."
But it could have been a lot worse than it was.
And I decided I'd just, have a night and see how I feel in the morning, which is when I met Ed. So thank God I did not get on the next plane back home.
Later, I think they had a bit of a scary experience in Copacabana Beach when Ed, I think somebody put a knife into Ed's face.
And I arrived about 2 hours before you did. Went into the bar and had a few whiskies, met some of the guys on holiday, and went to bed. And I had no idea what this was going on. I had no idea. And the next morning we met. I can just remember going down to the lobby, seeing this tall girl with long dark hair. Oh yeah, she looks all right. As you do. And here we are.
And we just knew that there was something very special about Amita, that Ed was missing all these days hunting.
Their first meeting was having a holiday together, really, and spending time with each other.
We had so many things in common as we got to know each other.
Initially, when Amita just landed, she got in a car which she thought was the taxi.
Amita just happened to get in the wrong car at the wrong time.
We never officially actually had anything in the way of where, will you come out with me, or would you like to go and date? Because sort of we already were naturally becoming closer without sort of having to say, will you go out with me? Which was kind of nice, really. But there did come a time when we kind of just confirmed that we are now boyfriend and girlfriend, and that's when, we basically had a title that we could say, yes, he's my boyfriend, because the sisters were like, "Oh, you're just friends," and that's when we started thinking about it and saying, well, no, actually, we're more than that.
Always have been.
We always have been, but we just didn't know it was happening because it was just so natural, the way we grew together. So yes, for the sake of the world, we, said yes, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's good,
pudding.
It's good food in there, is.
I know.
It's really nice.
And very well priced too.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
You just knew, just seeing them together, that they were going to be together for the rest of their lives. They're so together, those two.
My name is Ben, and I'm Edward's brother, younger brother, the only brother. I was the best man at the wedding.
My first memories of Ed, but this is when I was supposed about 15, was that he was a brilliant runner. He used to run everywhere, and wherever hounds were, Ed was. You'd always know that you were in the right place if Ed was there. Really, yes, he was, and he always had a really cheeky smile, and he'd always be there in front of all the horse people, even though he was on 2 legs and they were on 4.
We grew up on a little village in West Dorset, and had a fairly free rein. Not many, not like in a town. It was sort of in the middle of nowhere, so you were able to sort of run free. And Edward spent most of his time chasing around after horses and hounds. That was pretty much what Edward did as a little boy, and still the same now, really, pretty much.
He was always good fun. We always had a laugh together, even though it was out in the pouring rain watching hounds. And we've been on a couple of hunting expeditions together up to Cumbria and places, and he's always been a good laugh and really got a zest for life and enjoys everything that life's got to offer.
Like all brothers, you get on 1 minute, then you fall out, then you make back up again, and you go on. But we're quite different in what we liked as children. So where he liked hunting, I like motorbikes, and you just, I suppose, but you bond, don't you? Your brothers, aren't you? Blood's thicker than water, so you're, when it matters, you're there.
I was a bit nervous meeting his mother, for obvious reasons, but as soon as we arrived and the wonderful surroundings and country views that where she actually lives, the lovely land and the beach, and it just kind of calmed my nerves, and it was lovely to meet her.
You don't know whether you're going to bond or not. You just don't know, do you? It's quite a, it's like, well, we weren't sure. We both weren't sure whether Amita like us, whether she'd think we were mad, or or whether she'd think we think she was mad. And no, we didn't. We got on well, and like I said, the first thing we look for with as parents, me and my partner, is, do they interact with the children? And obviously she did. She was very good with the kids. So I mean, that's the first hurdle, and then we got on well, and I think actually they bought us lunch, so that's a bonus as well.
Amita's our sister. I'm the youngest.
And I'm the unfortunate oldest.
So Amita's in the middle.
Meeting Amita's friends were really nice people, and I got on really well with them. They liked me. I was a bit nervous because I thought, well, if they don't like me and being so new in her life, I thought they might not like me at all. And I was thinking, oh God. But luckily, they did like me, so.
They all took to him like a fish to water, really, because my best friend, Steve, he's normally quite protective when it comes to me, and he's not approved of ex-boyfriends in the past. But he said there's something quite special about Ed, and I can see this going somewhere, and which was really sweet. My sisters thought that he was great, and so no, it was nice, definitely.
I think he probably phoned me up and said, I've met somebody, and I was, who, when are you going to bring her up? When are we going to see her? And obviously, where did you meet? Obviously, they met on a holiday. He used to go every year on a major holiday as such, whether it was somewhere hot, cold. But this happened to obviously the holiday that year was where he met Amita in South America. So I think then he. I'd have just said, I can imagine I'd have said, well, when are we going to see her? And he'd have probably said, oh, you're too far away up there. And, oh, it's hunting next week, I can't just come up and see you then. So.
She was the rebel, she was the very naughty one, wasn't she?
She was a real character from day one, to be honest.
She was always the one beating us up and pulling our hair, and but she was also the one, which we mentioned in our speech at the wedding, the one who came up with the games and made imaginary worlds and things like that, so it was always fun as well.
And in those days you didn't need a computer, as long as you had Amita around, it didn't really matter. It was good fun.
Yeah.
When he did bring her up to see us, we were camping, and we just bought a state-of-the-art tent, 9-man pod tent. And I said to her, come up, we'll come camping for a day or a night or whatever, however long you want. And he turns up with this. I think he borrowed a tent, or he either bought a 2-man tent, So we have this grand 9-man tent, and Edward has this little 2-man tent. And to watch them put it up, and we had some horrendous rain. The rain was appalling, and they were like drowned rats in this little tent. And Amita played with my children, and they seemed to all get on very well, and we thought that, yeah, very nice, well done.
The first kiss was in Cusco, wasn't it?
On our second day of meeting.
On the second day of meeting, we had a kiss and a cuddle outside the hotel room at night, didn't we? After we'd eaten guinea pig.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a kiss and a cuddle, and like I remember thinking, wow. You know. And I think that was the only night we spent in. Was that the only night we spent in separate rooms?
Yeah, I think so.
I can remember wishing she was coming into my room.
I didn't let him come to my bedroom that night.
Amita was the prankster, really, yeah, when we were younger. I mean, she was always beating me up, certainly, even now when she tries still.
And as much as I can pretend to be the eldest and the stronger one, it really doesn't get far with her. I mean, I remember we'd often have sort of birthday parties, and we had this, something that, Gita was quite young at the time, and Amita and myself would jump on the bed, and we'd say if we jumped on the bed 300 times, it means by that time the first guest will be there. And she'd somehow managed to keep going, and it was a nightmare, you know, trying to keep up with her. But yeah, we used to have a real laugh.
Yeah.
And I think with Gita, she did used to sort of set her up to fail in a way.
Yeah.
She'd purposely, Gita being the spoiled younger one, I suppose.
I was.
She'd sort of beat her up, and then Mum would come running looking for Amita's blood, you know, like, I'm going to get you, wait till I get my hands on you, and it's really, really good.
It was almost like we'd known each other for years. And it's just a really strange feeling. You know, so easy talking to her, and it felt so comfortable and chatting away like old friends.
And we had so much in common, just stuff that we liked to.
And she's bubbly, she's funny, and she's up for a laugh, you know, like I am, you know, messing about and being silly, and, you know, she's just like me in a way. And I'm just like her.
So we just hit it off.
It's quite amazing. It really was an amazing experience. Because I was so happily single before we met. You know, because I've grown up going hunting and that, and I got into travelling and stuff. I loved travelling, and that's all I've ever known. Then I go there and meet Amita. You know, it's changed my life around completely. For the better, might I add.
Mine too.
For Ed, you know, a country guy, you don't see them as being the most romantic people, but my God, he is romantic.
Hello, my sweet pea. Just wanted to say a few words. I'm so proud to be your husband. I've had a lovely day. After the stresses of this morning, not being able to get out of the hotel to get my beard cut was a bit of a nightmare. But from then onwards was just the best, perfect day, best day of my life.
As children, we were all quite
Very close, seriously close, yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was much, much younger, Rita and Amita were always very close, and I kind of felt left out, but that changed, you know, soon enough, as soon as I started growing up, and so we were all very close as a family.
Yeah, as you grow up, you sort of redefine your personalities, don't you? When you're young, you're all the same people, you get on and you're into the same things, because that's what you're exposed to. Then you get older, and one sort of decides to tour the world, and the other wants to get into reading, or, you know what I mean? So, but we've always had, I think, quite a nice, healthy balance, really, of all of it. And then
I think when our father died, it just brought the whole family closer with our mum, you know, all four of us. It was just the four of us left, just the women. So I think that's brought us closer now anyway, and it means more to us, even though we've moved away from home and things like that.
And I think although we know we don't need to be in each other's pockets all the time, we're there for each other if needs be, you know, which is really, really a big thing.
Yeah.
Like I said to everybody, what are you going to do? You can't marry a tree, you know, you're going to have to get out there and meet someone eventually, and you know, we didn't know it was coming around the corner. We had no idea. When we met Amita, we thought, you know, will it last? Won't it last? You know, like you would do. And we were pleased that it did. And it is hard. They were living. I think Amita was in Stamford, and Edward was in Dorset, and obviously it's a big gap. So I suppose you think, you know, that's the biggest strain. If you can get over that, then you've cracked it. And I think they got over it, sorted it out, and it was happy days.
Amita's been one of these people that if she was ever going to settle down, it was going to be with Mr. Right. There was no doubt about that. And I think when Ed came along, it was unbelievable, really. It was, you know, she's always been sort of quite practical and very friendly with everybody, you know, in a nice sort of way.
She was quite headstrong with having some bad experiences in the past. She didn't really believe in love anymore and things like that. So when she met Ed, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And I remember getting sort of phone calls and things saying from Geeta, or sometimes even from Amita, and it was weird because it was always something like you'd say things like, I've never seen her so mushy, Rita.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, they're just so into each other. And the fact that Geeta approved for me was reassuring because Geeta generally doesn't approve of anybody. So for her to say Ed's lovely, I thought, okay, we've got to meet this guy. He's really, really sounds nice. Geeta met him before I did. So yeah, it was really good.
To start with, I'd have said chalk and cheese, because obviously, you know, Edward was doing his thing, Amita was doing her thing, and they met on holiday. And then you think, you know, would she like his life? Would he like her life? And obviously, they do. So I mean, that's probably good. Perhaps if they were, you know, from two of the same backgrounds, then they might not get on as well as they do now. So I think it's good to have that variation, and I think that gives you something to build on.
With us being obviously Asian and the culture, normally, you know, the eldest gets married and you get married in turn of how you were born, but obviously with us it wasn't really like that anyway. We were kind of...
and Mum's pretty good in the sense of if and when you meet somebody, it happens that way, doesn't it? And it just so happened that she did. And the funniest thing was that she was not looking at all,
at the
you know,
time.
and like they say, if you don't look for it, you find it. Well, she did in Lima.
in Peru, yeah.
Of all places.
I do know that Ed shares a passion, or used to, I don't know if he still does it, chase winds, typhoons at some stage. I think he's been to America chasing high-speed winds and stuff. So he's kind of lives life on the edge, and I think Amita's kind of the same as well. They like doing exciting things.
Well, the first time they had just come back from their South America holiday, and he'd just been back a few days, and he came to stay in Stamford because I lived with Amita at the time, and he came to stay that same weekend, and I was just like, God, they only just met a few days ago, you know, he's already coming to stay, you know. So that kind of gave me the inkling straight away that, oh no, this is something a bit more serious. They want to see each other, you know, and kind of don't even want to be a few days apart, you know. So when he did come to stay, it was just lovely. We all had a drink, we all enjoy our drink, and you know, and we just really got on. He was so easy to get on with, and you could just see they were when they were in each other's company, you know, they just couldn't notice anything else around them. They could only see each other. It was really lovely to see. So that was the first time I kind of met him and got to know him.
We went to India in January to see Amita's family, and I decided that I'd ask her to marry me. So I popped the question over there, and she said, might do. And I thought, what do you mean, might do? What's that supposed to mean, might do? That's all she keeps saying. I asked her over and over again, you know. I looked across the road and saw a jeweller's shop. Come on, let's go and get a ring. Might do. So obviously we couldn't do that, so she never gave me an answer until... And then in February we went, I thought, right, Valentine's Day. So I booked a nice hotel in Mevagissey in Cornwall, where I've gone ever since my childhood. And got in the car and she started getting tummy pains. We got onto Dartmoor and she was sick. I had to stop. She had this tummy bug, food poisoning.
Food poisoning from the night before.
Because we'd been out for a meal the night before. And opened the car door. Wind all blew it in the car, didn't it, everywhere. I thought, what a romantic start this is.
And literally, at the moment we arrived at the hotel, I went straight to bed.
I couldn't believe it. She didn't know what I planned. And she went straight to bed. I sat there and drank a bottle of wine and wrote her a poem.
All alone, because it was
alone.
Valentine's Day.
And
I was in bed sleeping.
We went to the beach the next day, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I was going to propose on the beach. It's a lovely beach called Kelowna, which is round the corner from Portmelon, which is where we stay. And
but I didn't have the energy to take that walk where he had hoped to propose.
It wasn't romantic, you know. It wasn't the right time.
because of the way I was feeling.
So we came back to Axminster and
A few days later, wasn't
about
it?
3 days later, wasn't it?
18th of
February, in the kitchen, I proposed.
Yeah, it was the good old-fashioned way, down on one knee.
Mm.
Will you do me the great honour of being my wife? And I said, make me the happiest woman in the world.
She said yes.
When he came back, and I said to my partner Jane, I said, what do you think will happen? What actually is going to happen? Are they going to spend a couple of years, and then the next thing is whoa, we're going to get married, and I was quite impressed with that, because I think that's good. I think if the move's right, and if it takes you the right way, then go and do it, rather than spend years and not.
But I was just so pleased for them both. It was really, really special. And as I say, they came to supper with us quite soon afterwards, and it was just really lovely to see them together. You just knew, just seeing them together, that they were going to be together for the rest of their lives. They're so together, those two.
We knew it was on the cards. It was just a matter of when it would happen, really.
And as far as I can remember, I think the day he was supposed to, she ended up sick.
Ill, yeah.
And being sick, wasn't she?
Literally on him.
He couldn't find the way of proposing quite. And then after that, it kind of just happened. It just...
Yeah, we don't know too much about the proposal, apart from the fact that they knew, really,
remember
anyway.
She just said he asked me, and I said yes. And
I think he did ask one or two times. I think he had asked previously.
Yeah, and she was playing hard to get.
Yeah.
Oh, the weddings were amazing. It was just such a fantastic day. Obviously, I came up with people from Somerset, so it started very early, about 4 o'clock in the morning, for us to get to Burley in time. But it was just amazing from the start. I'll just never forget arriving there, and I was with my cousin. We were a bit late, and it was really, really hot, and we got ushered into the courtyard, and there was this beautiful canopy, and everybody was sat around, and it was just glorious. They'd done it so well, and it was really beautiful. And it was just the first ceremony as well, was just everybody took part, and you just felt so part of the ceremony. I'd never been to a Hindu ceremony before, and it was just really lovely to feel part of it. We felt really privileged to be there, really privileged.
We decided in the first week that, Edward would have been quite happy to go to India and have the wedding there. And now when we think back on the cost and the expense that we actually paid out, it probably would have been cheaper to take everyone to India and done it. But we decided we'd have a traditional Indian-style wedding ceremony, and also Church of England. And it would be nice to have all the friends and family together, because it's probably one of the only occasions where you do get everyone together. And that's what made it, really. That was the thing that made it, us
Whole family under one roof.
have everyone together just to share our special day.
It doesn't happen very often, does it? 2 weddings in one day.
And then the next thing is whoa, we're going to get married.
In the kitchen, I proposed.
Yeah, it was the good old-fashioned way, down on one knee.
I was just so pleased for them both.
We knew it was on the cards. It was just a matter of when it would happen.
It doesn't happen very often, does it? 2 weddings in one day. Two of everything.
Yep.
2 dresses, 2 grooms, 2 brides.
Yep.
Bridesmaids.
Well, same bride and groom.
Yes, but I mean outfits.
The Hindu ceremony took place in the morning, and obviously that's Amita's religion, so they both wanted their own ceremony.
probably, I suppose, originally the cultures being different, you know, us being Hindu and him obviously being Church of England. But, you know, they're both down-to-earth people, so it wasn't something that got in the way or anything.
It's never an issue, was it, really?
And he wants to get to know the Hindu side and she wants to get to know the other side, so it's kind of worked well. But that's the only thing they've kind of had to put together, which they've done very well.
But I think even both side families have, I think personally I've really enjoyed it. You know, it's been really, really nice meeting different people from different walks of life and different upbringings altogether, but coming together to unite them in a way, and everybody just getting along. You know, you're human at the end of the day, aren't you? So you just get on, doesn't matter.
It just illustrated how the families, you know, come together. And I think by having both ceremonies and on the same day and everything, it was just really, I think it showed us all, you know, what an amazing bond it was these two had, that they were very happy to go through the different ceremonies on the same day, and how much both religions meant to each other. He did look a bit funny in his garments on the morning, but I mean, it was just so lovely. You just respected, you know, what that ceremony meant to all of Amita's family, and especially as well. But particularly important to see everybody so much involved in it all as well. We did have a little laugh when the fire got up at one stage. I think someone put too much coal on it.
In the Indian wedding, we have you kind of sit round the fire. And,
called a oven, and it's just a small...
Well, it gets very smoky in your eyes, you know, your watery eyes, and...
Because it was at one stage, it sort of went a bit out of control.
Yeah, it did go quite big,
or we didn't
it?
quite know what was
Flames
happening, because you have to keep sort of putting oil in to keep it going, and it seemed to be flaring towards our outfits, and you know, trying to protect ourselves. Spent hundreds of pounds on these. Can't ruin them after today.
And the oil obviously keeps going the more oil you put on. And Edward had a ladle, and every now and then you had to throw a bit of oil on this fire.
And he was putting more like sort of big spoonfuls in.
Well, I thought Caesar put it on the fire, and I thought, well, put the thing on the fire, so I poured it on, you know.
So it got quite fierce.
And I love fires anyway, so it didn't bother me. I quite like watching it burn, but this top of the gazebo was getting a bit heated.
Yeah.
People were getting worried, weren't they?
Yeah, it was getting a bit hot.
Yeah, it was hot.
People sitting in front were a little bit worried whether they're going to have to get the fire extinguishers out at one stage.
Well, I asked Ben to be my best man because he's my brother, and we do live a fair distance apart. He's in Derbyshire and I'm in, well, now Somerset. And I thought it'd be nice to have him as part of it, because, you know, I don't see him very much. And I thought, you know, we'd give him a big part to play, and his daughters could be the flower girls. So, yeah, it was good. And I was glad he could do it. And he did a good job. Well, sometimes, apart from the morning. When I went to leave the hotel, I had an appointment with the barbers at 6 to have a head shave and a beard shaved off. And I parked the car. I couldn't see any sign that says gates shut at whatever time. So I went out there in the morning at 20 to 6 to get in the car, drive out. Gates was locked. Oh, but oh my God, you know, what am I going to do now? So I ran back in the hotel. I sort of looked around. There's no porter, nothing. I thought, well, what the hell am I going to do now?
The night before, obviously, the wedding, Edward spent the night in our hotel. And our hotel, it was a traditional hotel with a walled garden and these big double gates. And it said on the double gates, these gates will be shut at 11 p.m. So you're in, and if you're not in, you're out. Edward, on the wedding morning, had to go and have a shave. I had shaved, and he had a bit of a beard for some reason, so He was going to have that sorted out. And we were in the hotel. Edward parked his car in the car park and had to be up at something ridiculous, like 6 o'clock in the morning. And of course we're all asleep, and we could hear this noise the morning of the wedding. And it was Edward marching around because he just realised that he'd gone out to the car to go to drive off to get himself, shaved and sorted out, and he couldn't get out. The hotel gates locked, no one answering the phone, no porter, no note, nothing.
So I went up to Ben's room, banged on the door. He was shouting the other side, "Don't wake the kids up," because they were all in one room. And I said, "Look, do something, Ben, you're the best man. Get me to the barber's. Because my wedding day, I don't want any delays. And this is the first thing that could go wrong, has gone wrong." And I was getting pretty ballistic, really. I was stomping around the hotel. I was angry and annoyed that nobody turned up.
And he was marching around like a headless chicken, what's going on? What am I going to do? I'm going to be late. It's my wedding day. And I said, "Well, phone a taxi." So he's on the phone to a taxi driver, and he said, obviously, half a dozen wouldn't answer the phone because they're all in bed. And he got all this chap, and he said, "It's my wedding day. I need a taxi." And this poor guy must have come out and picked him up and went off. And we laughed like mad in the morning, and of course he came back very serious, and this is desperately serious, and you shouldn't laugh.
I thought, well, what's going on? Where is everybody? And eventually I said, "Well, can't you drive me, Ben?" He says, "No, my car's in the car park too." So I had to go and get a taxi.
And when you try not to burst into, I could have cried with laughter. It was so funny.
So I phoned the taxi man, and luckily I found one that would come and pick me up. Because I got a bit desperate. I said, "Look, it's my wedding day. I need to go there and make this appointment." So, yeah, it was good. It was all right, yeah. I got there in the end. About half an hour late. But I can see the funny side now, but I was...
Didn't see the funny side
at the time I was angry and worried, but I can see the funny side now. But I can swear there was no notice on that gate.
So I've stood there outside the hotel with this bag. Edward gone off in this car. He must have arrived about 20 minutes early anyhow, before Amita got there. So there was no hurry, but it was funny, and we were sat there trying, because I suppose it's a lot of pressure and worry, but it was really, really funny to sit I got there with this bag. "I got your bag," and of course no drama, and it went really well, and the day went swinging. It was a really good day.
In your mind, because everybody was just so happy, and it was lovely as well, because obviously, you had Ed's family and friends who come from, most of them come from Somerset, Devon, and very much a rural community, and meeting Amita's family and friends, and everybody got on. It was such shared joy, really good.
Having both weddings in one day was stressful, but it was nice, the fact that they did it that way. The first one was the Indian wedding, wasn't it?
And it was nice from the moment we woke up. It's something like 4 or 5 in the morning. We had to be up, opened a bottle of bubbly as you do, and had the beautician and that. It was really, really nice just watching her from being not so glamorised to just being absolutely stunning. She doesn't take much, does she?
She looked like a princess. She really did.
Absolutely beautiful. The way they were, dressing her up and everything. And from the time that she woke up till the time she left, she looked fantastic, didn't she? And it was just really nice, relaxing, a bit of music on in the background, and then sort of make our way over to the Burley house, which was where the ceremony took place. It was really, really nice.
Ed's speech was very moving, and I do remember Amita's sister saying what she said, that her father would have really approved of Ed because of the qualities he showed. And I just thought that was so lovely to say that. It was really special, and I think it meant to all of us that, you know, Amita's family very much loved Ed as much as we did. So that was really nice to hear that.
The initial Indian ceremony, we had it outdoors at Burley House, just outside.
So it was very lucky, actually. We had a very warm, sunny day because obviously with the rains this summer, it was just, we were really dreading it.
And we were so lucky with the weather, and the weather was just unbelievable.
Oh,
because either side it was rain and wind, wasn't it, all the time? And we were so lucky to get the weather. Just made it, really. And such a colourful affair, all the people who dressed up, and it was really nice.
And overall it was lovely. Mum was absolutely glowing, you know, the proud mother, and parents on both sides were very, very happy.
And it was nice because with the Indian ceremony, they got everyone involved. They got Edward's family involved as well as us, and, you know, we all had a bit in the family.
Parents. And so that was really, and it was just the colours. I just remember the colours. The sun was shining, beaming down on them, and there was just, you know, pinks and oranges and greens and loads of colour. Everybody really happy, you know, just waiting for it to start. There was no sort of agitation or anything, was there, about let's get on with it and get it over with. No, everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And Amita, being the way she is always prepared and organised, she'd done, they'd done a whole sort of service written down on paper beautifully.
Of what each Indian part of the wedding meant, so that it was translated.
Yeah, so that everybody could follow that this is what's going to happen next and why it was going to happen, and so that was really good, I thought. And everyone took that home with them, didn't they? That was really nice.
I spent ages thinking, what am I going to do, and do I sit there and give it tit for tat? And I thought, no, we'll have some, you know, good old marital advice. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for coming here, because it's good to see you all, and you've all travelled a long way, as everyone said before, but it's great to see you, and it's been a great day. It could have been pouring of rain, it could have been miserable, but we've been really, really lucky, and I think it's really great that you've all managed to get it, so well done to you all. Now then, I'll begin anyhow, Edward, so listen. Firstly, set the ground rules out, because they're important, Edward. Very, very important. Establish who's boss.
Amita!
And do everything. Sit down. And do everything. Listen. And do everything Amita says, because that's what you're going to have to do. So set that. Just get on with it.
We've always had them.
I went and researched, spoke to people, as many people as I could find, and then armed myself with a great list of bits and pieces, and went down that road, which I felt was a better way than mentioning any more about hounds, muddy water, and pubs. You know, so yeah, it was good. I think it went down well, really.
Amita said, would you mind both saying a few words? And we said, yeah, that'd be fine. But as it got nearer and nearer, we thought, oh God, did we make the right decision? Can we get out of it now? But we didn't want to really, but it's just the nerves. But
we did want to really say something too. Yeah, so, but they all went really well.
Once we were up there, we didn't want to get off. Because anyway.
We know, you love the attention.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all having a great time, and hope you've all got a glass of something alcoholic sitting not too far away from you. For those of you that haven't yet been introduced to myself and Geeta, we are Amita's, obviously, sisters. We've got the spoiled younger brat of a sister here, Geeta, and I like to think of myself as the more mature and sophisticated sister. Right. I thought, great, carry on talking now, but I think they booed us off in the end.
The speeches at the reception were amazing. I was terrified, petrified. It had been worrying me for months. This is the happiest day of our lives, and to see you all and share our special day with you is very heartwarming. I had to go halfway around the world to meet Amita. Little did I know how my trip to South America would change my life forever. It was the best decision of my life. I feel the luckiest man in the world to have such a lovely bride. She's the best thing to have ever happened to me. I was absolutely petrified. And Ben's speech was before mine. No, it wasn't. It was after mine. and he said a really good speech, you know.
The future, well, lots of children, I hope, really. I think that I hope that they stay at this end, perhaps, rather than go up to London. I know they're talking about perhaps moving away abroad at some point. Whether they will or not, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's looking good. I mean, I think they're both pretty capable people, so they'll, you know, get stuck in and get into the older mill, the old works, and get stuck into it, you know.
They love each other so much. You can just see it in their eyes, the way they still look at each other after all this time. It's just so, you know, endearing,
and they just radiate happiness, to be honest, absolute happiness on their faces and their bodies, the way they carry themselves, you know, in the kitchen, anywhere.
And they're constantly, you know, I mean, not bickering as in fighting, but they're constantly, like, you know, playing adult, silly little games. It's quite funny,
kind
really,
of
isn't it?
Fun there, yeah.
They're very fun together.
Looking into the future, we'd really like to just sort of settle into our new home. We've recently bought our first pets together, fish, and we'd like to buy a snake and
Some turtles.
And then hopefully I'll get my 3 dogs if I'm good.
Then we can have some kids then.
And then we might, we'd love to be blessed with some kids because we both love children to bits, and that would just be the icing on the cake.
Yeah. She's the best thing to have ever happened to me.